What's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so quick update. Goran Dragic went to the Bulls. He went to the Bulls on a one-year deal minimum, I believe it was. Might have been a little more than a minimum, but yeah, very, very affordable. One-year deal, easy to move at the deadline if necessary. Bolsters their backcourt. That is the backcourt. I always get those two mixed up for some reason. Not a real basketball player, as you guys obviously know, but nevertheless, he's going to booster their backcourt as a guard who's going to come in and put an emphasis on scoring and ball movement and just overall provide more cohesiveness no matter what guard they put on the floor. So I like that for them because a lot of times in the past, even though they fixed this issue in the previous year, prior to, they really had a lot of issues with having people on the floor who could help them facilitate. Now, they have a whole team full of facilitators. Everybody on the floor should be looking for one another, and I do like that dynamic, especially when you commit to Zach LaVine at a supermax amount. You definitely want to make sure that players are on the floor that can help him get easy buckets. So that is basically what his place on the team will be in the short term, I believe. Just help with that in whatever minutes given. Probably not a lot because they got a lot of guards. So, yeah, I like it. Also for stretching the floor, obviously they are shopping Coby White. So if they lose him, Goran Dragic should continue to provide some scoring from the perimeter that maybe would be missing in his absence. So I don't know if Kobe's going to be moved, but I hear the Lakers want him real bad. And if we don't get Kyrie for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure he's one of the 3 contingency plans that are out there for a shooter for the Lakers. It's been reported many times we want that kid. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. Goran Dragic, I think, like I said, he's a candidate to get traded at the deadline. That's just a no-brainer. We understand that. When you're on a one-year deal, no matter what the pay rate is, it could be $47 million, it could be $3 million. There's a good chance if you don't have a prominent role on that team or they don't fit your timeline, they're going to be moving off from you. So who knows where the Bulls will be. Likely they'll be a playoff team. But, you know, in these situations, you just don't know what they're going to do at the deadline. But one thing's for sure, he is secured for 1 year. And so that's what we got going on there. Yeah, as far as the Bulls, I like them. Patrick Williams going to be coming back for another year. I think he's going to play a much more prominent role as a power forward for them. They saw some nice stuff out of him in the playoffs, so I'm pretty sure they're really excited about him. And, you know, it's one of those situations where I just like the overall pieces that they have for the regular season. I think the Bulls are a regular season basketball team. When they get to the playoffs, I have questions about the rotations that they're going to put on the floor to get the most out of themselves. That's my only thing with them. I think they need to get some more front court help. I've always said, replace Vucevic. I just don't like how he plays in that offense. Be a candidate for Ayton. That should be priority number 1. Be a candidate for Kevin Durant. That should be priority number 2, or vice versa. But I'd definitely be in the mix if I were the Bulls. And I'll tell you this, I like the Bulls front office. I mean, I didn't really love the Zach LaVine signing, but I have liked how aggressive they've been in turning things around and the emphasis they put on perimeter defensive play with the guards that they've picked up. Now, Goran Dragic doesn't help with that, but he doesn't need to because they already have it in place with other guards. So that's what I've appreciated about what they do. So we'll see. We'll see. I think they're going to be a middle-of-the-pack team in the playoffs next year. The East is loaded, and I just don't know that they got necessarily better. But with Patrick Williams coming back, DeMar DeRozan's going strong, Zach LaVine's been paid, Caruso should be healthy, Lonzo should be healthy. That is a good thing. However, I still think that this is the thing. The Bulls last year, and I'll say this and I'll move on. The Bulls last year had Lonzo out, Caruso out, and then they had balance with their guard play. At that point, that's not the dynamic they're going to have this year. So what they're going to find is they have Zach LaVine. Yes, he's going to get starters minutes. Of course, you pay him $200 million. He's going to be the guy. But then you got DeMar DeRozan, who's literally on the floor going to demand the ball. He's just going to be he's going to be the guy that takes over, though. That's the thing. That's what we learned last year. That's why I'm so confused by the Zach LaVine signing, because it's like, you do understand DeMar DeRozan is the leader of that team. Like Zach LaVine was struggling to find his place in that rotation as it pertains to him fitting on the floor with what it is that he does versus what it is that they do. And so for me, it's like, okay, Ayo Dosunmu, maybe they need to kind of condense the roster in a way, which is why I got them as a trade candidate. Maybe they need to condense the roster in such a way to make it so that they'll have more slip into place, so that they don't have so many pieces that are sitting that should be on the floor, because they are your best pieces at whatever it is they do. You know what I mean? So you're going to have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan on the floor, but you won't have Caruso on the floor to help you defensively where you'll probably need him, or Lonzo on the floor to help you with that as well. So me personally, I like the Bulls when their lineup has Caruso, Ball, DeRozan. That's what I like. And then Dosunmu coming off the bench. That's the rotation I think they're at their best. Because Caruso and Lonzo, even though they have their questionable ways from behind the arc, that's a spacing kind of thing. I don't know if you love it for spacing. But what you're going to have is those guys playing off each other so well, because they both play defense and offense, and they both look to pass to each other. They're both athletic and all that. Because I think at the end of the day, you want two-way talent on the floor at all times. And then if for some reason those defensive players aren't able to hit shots, then you come off the bench with the Kobe Whites. Then you come off the bench with the shooters and the scorers that can help you booster the score up to where it needs to be, and then get back to defense, which is what your calling card would be. But if you have Zach LaVine in that rotation, what you end up doing is taking that dynamic away from you and inserting a score first, me first scorer. Like, I'm doing me. And so it's like, all right, well, now you got all these facilitators and all these guys who can do all these different things for each other watching him. It doesn't work. From a basketball standpoint, it literally doesn't work. So what I think is going to end up happening, even though Zach LaVine's happy to be a Bull, everybody's happy to have him, all that looks great. When they're going to find out the dynamic of what I'm talking about is the case, and they're going to have to move on from somebody. Either it's going to be Lonzo, it's going to be Caruso, it's going to be DeRozan, or it's going to be LaVine, but they're going to have to get rid of somebody, because they got the same problem the Sacramento Kings had with the logjam at guard they had a year ago with Halliburton, obviously Mitchell, and Fox. This is the same problem, only at a different position with the Bulls. And they got max money invested in basically that same position over and over and over again. Lonzo's maxed out, if I'm not mistaken. Vucevic is maxed out. Caruso's on a nice, hefty deal. They maxed out Zach LaVine. Where are they getting all this money? That's another thing. It's like, how are they doing all of this? If Vucevic is a max player, Ball's close to a max player. I think he got like 100 or something like that. You got, as I said, Zach just got the super max. DeRozan got maxed out, if I'm not mistaken. He's on a hefty deal for multiple years. How are they doing this? That's my question about the Bulls. By what this looks like in my head, they shouldn't even be able to keep the roster they have right now. Somebody should have to be gone. So I don't know if that's the case, or if I'm just not looking at this correctly. Maybe I got the contracts wrong in my head, but it seems to me they got close to 4 max contracts on that roster, all playing this pretty much the same position with the exception of Vucevic. So yeah, they should make a trade. If I were them, I'd be going aggressively for Donovan Mitchell. Well, not necessarily Donovan Mitchell, but someone probably of that ilk. I mean, you consider they have the numbers to match for that type of talent. Kevin Durant. Definitely would be going after Kevin Durant. I would try to pair up DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Durant, or Zach LaVine and Kevin Durant, or something like that. Lonzo Ball, Caruso, Kevin Durant. DeMar DeRozan, if you can keep that, that's a hell of a lineup right there. So, I don't know. The Bulls got their options, man. I'm getting a phone call, and I'm going to have to answer it. So, thank you guys for watching video 44.